I completed my company secretaries course in 1988, and that is about 36 years back. Fortunately, I was also having MBA degree that time, and that's why I was working in the capacity of finance controller and company secretary. And at that time, I realized as to how important it is for we company secretaries to be well equipped in the understanding of financial statements. More so because it is we company secretaries who, together with the CFO and the managing director and the director and the auditor, we also sign the financial statements. And that is the significance of our signature, that it is affixed on the annual accounts of a company. And therefore, it is absolutely necessary for every one of us that we must be very well equipped as far as understanding of the financial statements are concerned, so that we know when we are affixing our signature on an annual report of a company, we know as to what is that which has gone into this annual report. And therefore, Sureshji, I would really like to compliment you and the institute for thinking of this program, because in my view, this is the need of the hour for we company secretaries. And let me also tell you at the same time, all the dear participants, that contrary to popular myth that reading the financial statements is a very complex matter, only someone with formal qualification in finance can do it. Let me tell you, this is completely wrong. This is completely wrong. The fact of life is, if there is anything which is easiest to learn and understand on this earth, it is finance and the financial statements. Why? Because it is language of money. Everybody understands it. Somebody who has got a formal education in finance would understand, and somebody who does not have somebody who is not literate also, he will also understand finance very well, because it is language of money. And therefore, friends, in this session that the institute has designed, and I can tell you at this juncture that all of you are really fortunate to be part of this program, and I'm sure that is what you also would feel at the end of these 5 days of program once it gets over. So what I have done is, in next 2 days between today and tomorrow, I'm going to cover with you 3 financial statements which all of us as the company secretaries ought to understand very very well and very easily. And those three financial statements are, as we all know, P&L, balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. And at this juncture, I can also tell you, it is going to be my endeavor that in next 2 days between today and tomorrow, I explain all these 3 financial statements in a very systematic and meticulous manner, and going line by line, explaining the meaning of each and every word that appears in the financial statements, so that you are able to comprehend it very easily. That is what is going to be my endeavor in this program. Given a choice, if he were to be in an offline scenario, I would have loved to make this session interactive. But knowing the limitation of the virtual sessions, it is difficult to make it interactive. But I would definitely ensure that all your doubts and questions and queries are duly answered before we end today, and also before we end tomorrow for the respective days. So what are we going to cover in this session? And let me begin with that, so as to give you the boundaries and make you aware as to what is that you will expect from this session. We will start first of all with the profit and loss statement. And friends, please remember, profit and loss statement can be understood from 2 perspectives. As the company secretaries, as the KMPs, we need to understand the profit and loss statement not only from the perspective of financial reporting, not only from the perspective as to how the income statement is presented to the shareholders in the annual report, but as the KMP, we also need to understand as to how the P&L is used globally for the purpose of decision making, for the purpose of value creation, for the purpose of risk management, for the purpose of performance evaluation, and for the purpose of decision making. So this is how we are going to understand the profit and loss statement. After that, we will shift our focus to the balance sheet, and again we will understand the balance sheet line by line, what appears in the balance sheet and what is the significance of everything that is appearing in the balance sheet. And then we will understand how to figure it out whether this balance sheet is good or this balance sheet is not good, because we all know by our education that any balance sheet which is prepared in any part of the world, the asset side and the liability side will always be the same. So the question that comes to our mind is, if the both sides, the balance sheet both sides of the balance sheet, assets and the liabilities, if they have the same total for a loss making company, profit making company, new company, old company, government company, private company, manufacturing company, trading company, service company, Indian company, foreign company, if it is going to be same, then how do you figure it out whether this company's balance sheet is good or this company's balance sheet is not good? That is what we will also understand as in the second step. And then we will also look at some of the KPIs, key performance indicators pertaining to profit and loss statement and pertaining to balance sheet, as to how these KPIs are used for the purpose of decision making. And we will also understand simultaneously as to how to use P&L for the purpose of strategy formulation. Please remember, we are the KMPs, and the entire organization, the board of directors, depend a lot on us for our advice to them from time to time, and therefore we should be able to tell them from time to time as to how the information given in the P&L and in the balance sheet is used for the purpose of strategy formulation. We will understand that. Having done that, we will shift our focus to the cash flow statement. And let me tell you, friends, at this juncture, that balance sheet is important, P&L is also important, no doubt about it. But more than both these two statements, cash flow statement is much more important, and that is because cash flow statement tells the company's liquidity position. Cash flow statement tells us company's ability to take care of his all the obligations in the short term and in the long term, and it also gives an idea about the continuity of a company, and therefore cash flow statement becomes very, very important. So we will understand as to what the cash flow statement is, what it is to be prepared, what are the components of the cash flow statement, and it will be my endeavor to also help you with a case study, prepare a cash flow statement as to how the cash flow statement is prepared. So that is what also we would cover. And finally, of course, this is between today and tomorrow. Finally, if time permits tomorrow, I would also love to give you a very quick and brief overview of the Indian accounting standards. So as the KMPs, as the company secretaries of our company, or as a practicing company secretary, so we are important. In case we are employed, we are important for the company that we work for. If we are acting as a practicing company secretary, then we are useful for the companies whom we are giving our services as a practicing company secretary. So we should also be able to have a fairly good understanding of Indian accounting standards, because if your company is listed, then it has to pursue the Indian accounting standards, and if your company is not listed, then it has to follow the Indian accounting gap. So that is also what we will do. So this is the plan, friends, that we have for today and tomorrow.